Hey guys! If you don't know me, I'm Mari. Last October I was living in New York City. I sold all my stuff, then traveled to Southeast Asia, then Australia and New Zealand. Then I came back to the US, then I went to France, London, Iceland, and then all over the US again, and now I'm taking a short break before I go back to New Zealand. And everyone always asks me, how do I afford to travel? So I thought I would answer it in this video. So I've been thinking a lot about this answer, and there's one comparison that has come to mind. It's kind of like dieting. You know, when people lose weight, everyone is like, how did you do it? What's happened? Like, oh my gosh, like, and everyone kind of wants there to be this like magic secret, like, you know, lose weight really fast all of a sudden thing. But usually, like, the answer is just eating well, exercising, basically just a lot of hard work and sacrifice. So the same thing goes for saving money for travel. It really just boils down to a few things. But I think what you don't want to hear is that all it really takes is like dedication and sacrifice and making choices of what's important. Maybe I'll make some little graphics for you. Okay. The first thing, save money. Pretty self-explanatory. Before you set out to do a big trip, save as much money as you can. Now, I know it's hard for everyone to save money. You have so many bills and stuff. I was living in New York City before I went traveling, and I think we all know it's not a cheap city to live in. It's very expensive. My bills, like, alone were so much money, and the amount that I was making was not very much more than my bills. So I really had to do what I can to save money. You have to change your whole mindset about money, and every little cent is something that you have to account for. Now, it might work for you to create a budget and track all your spending with graphs and charts or just writing it down. That works for a lot of people. I've tried that before. I'm really bad at it. Like, I just don't keep up with it, and then I feel bad about myself, and it's a downward spiral. But so I found that what works for me is just don't spend money, or just spend the least amount of money as possible. So like, basically, don't go out to eat. It's too expensive. Cook at home, you know, you'll learn some new tricks, some new life skills. So if you do go out, order the least expensive thing. Just always go for what's cheap. Basically, just save as much money as you can. I really didn't save that much before I left traveling because I couldn't. Like, I just really couldn't. Some people save like 20, 30 grand. No. I think I saved, and it's like, I wish I knew. Okay, I really didn't track anything. I had about $10,000. I got money from selling my stuff. I sold pretty much everything I owned. A lot of like the furniture, that's a lot of money. And also I sold like a camera. That was, you know, several $100s. Like, every little thing you have adds up. So, and if you are going to do it, I'd recommend the earlier you can get started selling your stuff, the better, because all of a sudden when it's crunch time, you don't have the time or the energy to sell stuff. You have so many other things happening that you'll just end up giving it away, which is what I did for most of my stuff at the very end. But if you get started early, you can really make a lot of money. And just so you know, this whole thing is about long-term travel. If you're doing a short trip, it's like a different kind of story, but this is for long-term travel. If you want to know how to sustain long-term travel. So while you're building up and saving money, you get in this mindset of like living very cheaply. You know, you figure out what you can get by with and what you can't. If you go back to my videos before I left New York, there's like one, it's like the studio apartment living or something. It was the middle of summer. It was so hot. I was like dripping sweat the whole video, but it's because I did not turn on the air conditioner. Well, and then I did, if you watch the video. But I basically did whatever I could to save money. Those little tiny things add up. It's all money. So you really just have to make sacrifices. I was really eating just minimal stuff and doing whatever I could to save money. So if you're doing that, you get in this mindset of like living cheaply and not going out. And I know, like, it's really hard because it's like dieting again. You realize that so many social activities revolve around food or drinking or like going out. And when you're trying to save money, those aren't really good things to do. Just get creative with your time and with your friends. One of my favorite things to do in Brooklyn is just go to a friend's house and go like have a little picnic on the rooftop. So much fun. I think that's better than going to a bar a lot of the time. So do stuff like that, get creative. You're making these sacrifices, but you know like the bigger picture is so worth it. When you're at home eating ramen, just know that in a few months you'll be on a beach in Thailand. Like, it's all about, this is just what you have to do. If you want to make it work, you really gotta sacrifice and you gotta stick to it. Once you've done that and you've saved some money and you sold your stuff or whatever you're gonna do to make money, also like just work extra hard. Get a side job, get a second job, work more shifts. Do whatever you can to make more money on the side. If you could start some kind of something where you're making money online, like, I don't know, there's a lot of jobs like that now. That will be really good because if it's something you can continue while you're traveling, that's even better. Okay, but then the next step after you save money and you're like, yeah, woohoo, I'm going on a trip. Travel cheaply. Again, not rocket science, just travel cheaply. It's the same thing. You could make budgets and stuff if you're someone who works well with budgets. If you're like me, basically whenever you're gonna pay for something, just pick like the cheapest option. It really it works. It works. I mean, not always. You have to be kind of smart about it. But so yeah, just travel as cheaply as possible. If you really want to make your money go the farthest, travel somewhere that's cheaper, like Southeast Asia, South America, Central America, Eastern Europe. There are a lot of places that are cheaper. Look where your dollar, your currency is strong against another currency. A little research will pay off in this case. $10,000 in Southeast Asia could go so far. I know some people who travel for $10 a day there, and that's doable. When I was in Dondet, the 4,000 Islands, I had this like my own little private bungalow on the river for $5 a night. And other people I knew were sharing them, so they were paying $250 a night for your own bungalow. That's just like ridiculous. So if you're like somewhere like that, food is only a couple dollars. You could definitely easily be spending $10 a day. So the other thing, so I have so many ideas, I'm so excited. If you are traveling long term, definitely don't keep your apartment. Either sell your stuff and get rid of your apartment, get rid of most things so you're not paying for your stuff to be stored somewhere. Rather, you can make money off of the stuff. Or sublet your place. Really, you just don't have an empty place that's just losing money. That's not going to help you. So I sold all my stuff and got rid of my apartment. I shut off my phone. I stopped paying the US healthcare. I got traveler health insurance, like a more comprehensive travel insurance health plan. Once you kind of get rid of all those monthly bills that you're used to paying, money goes so far because you're not paying all that crazy amounts of money for all that stuff. Actually, like I feel like when I'm traveling, I spend so much less per month than I do when I was living in New York. So basically just spend as little money as possible, stay at hostels. I think hostels are really good, especially if you're traveling alone. They're great to meet people. There's also other free accommodation where you can do things like couch surf, or you can do woofing, which is where you work on organic farms, or house sitting. I haven't gone into that yet, but I really want to. There are all those options out there. You just have to be kind of smart, and it takes a little bit of research. The good thing is though, if you beforehand were prepping to save money, you get in this mindset of like spend as little as possible. If you plan on traveling long term, just really like pull that mindset along with you. So while you're traveling, keep that mindset. Spend as little as possible. I've been doing this mindset for so long now, like it's really second nature. So it's like I feel like I'm cheap, but don't be like the rude cheap person that like stiffs people on tips or anything. That's not cool. Nobody likes that. Be really smart also when you're traveling with your money. Get a credit card with no foreign transaction fees, preferably one that's also accruing points for flights or hotels or something like that. And I love them that you get a huge bonus for just even signing up. Get a bank with a debit card that has no ATM fees. That's really important. The third main tip is work along the way. There are a lot of ways to do this. What I did was I got the working holiday visas for both Australia and New Zealand. It's a really cool way to travel because you're like really immersed in the culture. You're seeing a whole new place. You know, you're getting a whole new experience, meeting all these people. You're saving money. You can do little side trips on your days off. Like, it's really, really good. I recommend that. If you have some kind of online business you can do where you can be a digital nomad, that's great because then you can work from anywhere in the world as long as there's Wi-Fi. So good. There's a ton of people doing this now. So I guess to answer the question of how I personally afford to travel, I worked in Australia. I do make a very small amount of money from YouTube. Like off the advertisements that play. It's not even very much at all. I really don't make that much, but it is some income. So then traveling as cheaply as possible. The last trip I did where I went to like France and England and like all over the US, I was staying with like friends and family and stuff. So like really my costs weren't that much. Mostly it's just flights and whatnot. Just to go over again, save money, travel cheaply, and then also work along the way. It's really not rocket science. There's no real secrets. Just, it takes a lot of discipline and sacrifice. You won't get to do every single thing that you want to do. You can't go out to the nicest meals. You're not going to stay at fancy hotels. There's a lot of stuff, but you know, you're getting more like a real experience, and you'll see. Once you start traveling, you'll see there's so many other people out there doing the same exact thing. And I know it seems really daunting, and before you do it, you're like, you just don't understand, like, how does it work? And I'll be honest too, like, before I started traveling like this, I had a friend who came back from a trip just like kind of like the one I did right before I left on mine, and I seriously like asked her so many questions. I was like, I don't understand, like, what about this, what about this? Like, so I get it. I understand that you have so many questions. It seems really hard before you start doing it. I wish there was a secret. I wish I could tell you something magical. No, it's really not. Just be smart about it. If you need to, make spreadsheets and a budget. That would probably really help. Just get it in your head, save money, don't spend money. So that's how I afford to travel, and it's so easy. You can do it too. Just get it in your mind, don't spend money, and travel cheaply when you are traveling. And then work. Yeah, you have to work too. So you can do it. I believe in you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope I answered your question. If you have any good tips for traveling cheaply, leave them below. See you in the next video. Bye. If you're arriving to a new city, I like to always try to arrive in the daylight so that you can easily find your hostel and it's less scary.